Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the paradox of our digital world. On one hand, it's this amazing universe of connection and creativity. But on the other, well, there's a bunch of hidden costs that affect every single one of us. Let's get into it. All right, let's just jump right in with a big one. On the internet, are you the customer or are you the product? Really think about that, because how you answer that question, it gets to the very heart of our digital lives. It's the key to this whole huge debate about what new media is actually doing to us. Okay, so before we dive into all the utopian dreams or, the dystopian nightmares, we've got to make sure we're all on the same page. What are we even talking about when we say new media? What makes it so different from everything that came before? Let's nail down a definition. So here's the deal. Unlike old school media like TV or movies, which were, pretty local, these new platforms are built to be global right from the get-go. A perfect example, Wikipedia. It's this massive, free encyclopedia that's created and edited by people from all over the planet. It connects information and people in ways that were just impossible before. It literally couldn't have existed. And this quote, this really hits the nail on the head. It points to this central trade-off of this whole thing. We get access to all these incredible free services, right? Social media, search engines, you name it. But what's the price of admission? Well, in exchange, we're handing over our personal data. And that data, everything from what you like to where you are, that becomes the real currency of the web. All right, so we've got this deal on the table, our data in exchange for free stuff. And out of that deal, two totally different visions for the future popped up. Let's start with the bright side, the super optimistic view, the dream of a digital utopia. What was this brave new world supposed to look like? So the folks who were really excited about this, thinkers like Nicholas Negroponte, they saw this as a full-blown revolution. They weren't just thinking it would change a few things, they believed it would actually liberate us. And they said this liberation would happen through 4 key processes that would basically reshape society for the better. Yeah, check this out. What's so interesting here is that these 4 ideas, decentralization, globalization, harmonization, and empowerment, they're almost like a blueprint for a better world. The whole theory was that if you spread power out, connect everyone on the planet, and give every single person a voice, you'd completely transform how our societies work. It's a pretty big promise, right? So, if you buy into this utopian vision, the internet makes us better in almost every way. We get more creative thanks to things like Wikinomics. That's where huge groups of people build something together. Think open source software. We get more powerful because it's harder for the state to control information. We become more connected in this global village. And maybe we even become more tolerant by connecting with all sorts of different people and ideas. But you knew there was a but coming, right? Every utopia has a dark side. What if all that empowerment is just an illusion? What if that global village actually has some pretty high walls? It's time to flip the coin and look at the other side. The much darker, pessimistic view that says this new world is anything but free. Yeah, the digital pessimists, they look at the exact same landscape we just described, and they see something completely different. They argue that all those amazing benefits we just talked about, they don't just come with a price tag. They come with these huge, often invisible costs that, well, we're all paying whether we realize it or not. And this is the absolute crux of their argument. These services are not free, not even close. The cost is just hidden. It's paid for with our unpaid labor. Every single review you write, every photo you upload, you're helping build their platform for them for free. It's paid for with our privacy as our data gets packaged up and sold. And get this, some platforms can even claim copyright over your content, meaning they can profit from your work. And this right here, this just perfectly sums up the conflict. On one side, the optimists saw a tool for freedom, for challenging authority. But the pessimists, they saw the ultimate tool for surveillance. Think about it. Digital messages are super easy to intercept. That allows governments, especially repressive ones, to watch activists and shut down dissent with terrifying efficiency. So let's get personal for a second. How many of your Facebook friends are really your friends? This question, it cuts right to the heart of the pessimistic view of our online social lives. These thinkers really question how strong our online connections are. They argue that instead of opening our minds, these online groups often just trap us in echo chambers, surrounded by people who already think exactly like we do. Do you remember the early days of the internet? It really felt like the Wild West, didn't it? a huge open frontier full of opportunity for anyone with a good idea. Well, the pessimists argue that that frontier has been completely fenced off. It's been taken over by a handful of incredibly powerful corporations, the new robber barons of our digital age. And you can see this in action everywhere. Just look at a company like Alphabet, that's Google's parent company. They don't just own Google, they own YouTube, Motorola, and over 200 other companies. This process is called conglomeration. Basically, one giant company just buys up all the little guys, any potential competitor. And critics say this is exactly what the old media monopolies did. It just leads to less diversity and fewer real choices for us, the users. Okay, so we've laid out two completely opposite stories. One is all about liberation and empowerment. The other is about control and exploitation. So who's right? The optimist or the pessimist? Well, here's the fascinating and maybe kind of unsettling part. The reality isn't one or the other. It's a paradox, and it's one we are all living in right now. Look, the digital world gives us these absolutely incredible tools. Tools for connection, for creating amazing things, for making real change in the world. That is undeniably true. But we are using those tools on a playing field that is increasingly owned, monitored, and controlled by a very small number of powerful companies and governments. Both of those things are true at the exact same time. It's a paradox. And that right there is really the ultimate takeaway. This whole thing, it's not just some academic debate. It's about the future that we are all building together with every single click, every post, every share. Understanding both sides, the promise and the peril, helps us see our own role in all this a little more clearly. So it leaves us with a final question. In this digital world that's being built every day, are you a citizen or are you just a user? Thanks for watching The Explainer.